Hey everyone. A while back, I did a review of the Tannoy Reveal 402 ultra compact studio monitors. They're fantastic for small rooms and tight spaces. Now we're going to switch things up and take a look at their bigger brothers. In this video, I'm going to do a full review of the Tannoy Reveal 802s. Let's see how they stack up. Let's kick things off with a quick overview of the core stats. These are substantially larger than the 402s and could be used as nearfields or perhaps even midfields in a larger room. Here's the high-level flyby. They're an active, two-way studio reference monitor. They have an 8-inch woofer and a 1-inch soft dome tweeter. They've got 100 watts of total power, with 75 watts going to the woofer and 25 watts to the tweeter. They have a pretty wide frequency response, starting at 42 Hz all the way up to 43K. That's way deeper than the smaller 502s or 402s, making these a really solid choice for electronic music or hip-hop. They've got a max SPL output of 114 decibels, which is definitely loud enough to feel the music or piss off your neighbors if you're not careful. They're very reasonably priced at about $250 to $300 USD a speaker at most retailers. The best price I've found on them so far is at B&H Photo Video, where they're currently $238 each. A link's below in the description if you want to pick them up. Also of mention, they won the Future Music Gear of the Year award in 2014. There are a few standout features that I want to highlight here before we get into the nitty-gritty details. First up is the stereo aux link. This lets you connect a laptop, tablet, smartphone, or music player, anything with an 1/8-inch headphone-style output. There's no need for a sound card or mixer. You can connect directly to the speakers. This is a deadly feature that expands their usefulness if you want to connect, say, a buddy's computer, or if you want to use them as listening speakers. They also have poke-resistant tweeters. In the real world, you can't always keep curious fingers away from your speakers, and Tannoy has smartly designed a poke-resistant soft dome tweeter that can take a few love taps and not dent. The 802s also have a really big mixing sweet spot. By the way the waveguides and crossovers have been built, you can move around and still nail your mix. These speakers are front-ported. This helps to reduce issues like boundary coupling, where sound can reflect off nearby surfaces and rejoin the original signal a split second later. This makes them a bit easier to use in smaller spaces and also makes boundary coupling easier to control with acoustic treatment. And finally, they have a rubber isolation pad on the bottom. This helps to seat the speaker and does a little bit to acoustically decouple it. Although because of the sheer size and amount of power these speakers put out, I would highly recommend using a heavy-duty acoustic decoupling system like the Prime Acoustic recoil stabilizers, or placing them on sand-filled stands behind your mixing desk. Let's take a peek around the back panel. Here, you'll find a simple and straightforward set of controls and connections. First up, we have a balanced XLR and unbalanced 1/4-inch input. We also have that super convenient 1/8-inch stereo aux link. When using the aux link, you have a speaker position selector so you can tell the system which monitor is on the left and which one's on the right. Some other monitors have a daisy chain audio connection like this, but they're usually mono, so it's nice to see one that's proper stereo. To adjust the monitor in your room, you've got a volume control and a treble trim switch where you can tilt the treble up and down by 1.5 dB. The crossover frequency is at 1.8K, so this affects frequencies above this point. Down below, you've got a power switch with a blue power indicator, voltage selector, and power connection. So let's talk about how they sound. I've had these monitors in my studio for a good couple of months now, and I've had a chance to do more than a few mixdowns on them. And I really, really like them. They're super solid. The 402s I found were a little on the small side for me without the use of a sub, given that I write a lot of electronic bass-heavy music, but the 802s were fantastic. In fact, I prefer to mix on a pair of really nice 8s with good bass extension rather than a smaller pair of monitors in a sub, because a sub can be really problematic to dial in. With a sub, you have all these extra variables. What level do you set it at? Where's the crossover set at? Where do you set the phase? And where do you put it in your room? And all of those things add a lot of complexity to dialing in something that's going to give you that bass extension. Whereas with a good solid pair of monitors that have bass extension just with the actual tops, you have none of those problems. So I found with the Tannoy Reveal 802s, I was able to get my mixes really nailed in. I could hear the low end accurately. And that's another thing I wanted to speak to, is the fact that they didn't overly hype the bass. They had bass, it was solid, it was there, you could feel and hear all the subs, but it didn't make it muddy and it didn't flood my room with too much bass. Some larger monitors that are 8s or 9s, they have problems with accuracy in the low end, and in my opinion, they overly hype the low end and they make it difficult to make mixing decisions. Whereas with the 802 Reveals, I was able to hear, oh, my subs need to come up or down by a dB or 2 dB, those smaller changes that I found really, really excellent. So all things considered, they're a really fantastic entry-level monitor. For $500 US a pair, they're great for somebody who's starting out and really wants to have something full range. So if you're mixing electronic music or hip-hop or anything where you need to have that bass extension, they're a fantastic full-range monitor. The other thing I wanted to mention is that they can also put out a lot of sound. A lot of times I mix at pretty moderate volumes, but every once in a while you want to crank it up and really feel the bass and be able to hear what monitoring sounds like at a larger volume. And these guys had enough output on them where I felt they could put out a good volume of sound as well. So they're fantastic monitors. If you guys want to check them out, there's links below in the description, and I'll catch you guys next time.